Hi everybody, Bob here again. Just going to go over a few basic radio setups for this build on the Midnight Pumpkin Metallic Special. And all I got here is just a cheap little radio. Most cases you want to make sure that your reverse switches are in the normal position, indicated by the N. Take your receiver, or RX as some people call them. Okay, and plug your servo in channel 1. Remember, 1 to turn, 2 to burn. So channel 1 would be your servo, and usually on most cases it's always black out, okay, with the power signal or power wire in the center and your signal wire towards the inside, the bigger part of the case. Again, this is on for most radio systems, not every one of them. Then you're going to take your speed controller wire here, and some of them have this little tab on them for Futaba styled radios. Some radios require you to trim this off to put into the receiver. This one does not. It has the notches in there already. So remember the rule: 1 to turn, 2 to burn. Slide this into channel 2. They're all clearly marked on your receivers. And slip it in. Once all that's in, you got the speed controller hooked up, you got your steering servo hooked up, because it's crucial to center the servo as much as possible before you set the servo saver. So we're going to turn on the radio, but make sure all your trims are in neutral. Steering trim and your throttle trim. Turn on the radio, plug a battery pack into the speed controller, and then turn on the power. Okay, we got power, and you can hear the servo moving, and right now it's centered. And seeing how I am using an ACOMS on the servo saver, there is a couple of different servo parts you could put on. You got ACOMS and Sanwa. You got just plain Sanwa, which is a different size splined hole, I guess you could say. And then you got your Tamiya and your Futaba. Seeing how I'm using ACOMS, I want this one here. So just take that off if I can. Gotta trim that up a little bit because I just ripped it out of there. I will trim this more, make it more appealing and better looking than what I have right now. Okay, and the instructions call for the servo to be sitting like this, and that little nub facing as straight up as possible. Now, you never get them straight. Everybody knows that. And that's where the trim's going to come in handy. Once you get it close, you set your trim to straight up and down, and it's good to go. Okay? So the next step would be to always turn off the speed controller first, then turn off the radio, then unplug the battery. And then you can get this stuff out of your way, unplug it, move it out of the way because you're not going to need this. Well, not right now, you're not going to need this. And then we could start with the rest of the servo saver parts right up here. Okay, so from the servo saver parts tree, which is P parts tree, you're going to need the flatter, the servo saver mount itself, Now that one's got kind of like a Z bend in it. So you want the flat one. You're going to need, I believe this is going to be P2, which is P4 actually, which is the plastic spring. And you're going to need P1, which goes into the center, and we'll go over that in 1 second. So with the nub facing towards the spring, where it would be, you're going to go into your bag C and grab these little BC2, which is 2x8mm cap screws. And it shows going in the outer edge from the inside where the nub is at. Okay, so with one of them in parts bag B, or I'm sorry, screw bag B, which is the BB7, which is the 5mm ball nut. Screw it on. And then do the same with the other side for the other end, because this is what's going to control your steering. And once you get that set in,
You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece.
and my phone is going off. Thank you, Arlie Ermy. May you rest in peace. Grab the nut driver. I got this Tamiya set, so I got a nut driver here, and get the appropriate Allen key, which I did not. Sorry, that was my bad. And just tighten them down ever so gently, because you don't want to go hog crazy on these, because you can split this plastic servo saver, and you really don't want to do that. So now they're all set. Turn that a little bit. That part's done. You're going to gently, I start on the back side, and as I push it forward, if I had the slot lined up there, as I push it forward, it usually just snaps on there, but this one's being tough. Wow, this is tough. Never had one this tough before. Oh, there it goes. Just snaps on. Some people just starting out may need to use some pliers on that. I'm not sure. But again, with the servo saver or servo, got the picture of it here. Then the little notch is facing upwards. Line it up with this piece here. Slip it on. And depending on your servo, you have 3 choices for screws. You have this black one here, which is going to be BC3, which is a 2.6mm by 10. Well, I don't need that one, so that will go right back in the screw bag C. You also have BA2, which is a 3 by 10 machine type screw. Again, I don't need that for this servo because it's nylon gears. This one and the other one are basically for metal gears. So the BA2 will go back in screw bag A. And I'm going to use the BB2, which is the 3 by 12 tapping screw from bag B. Take your P1 off your servo saver parts tree P, and just slide it in. Take your Phillips screwdriver and tighten it down. Now, it's going to move a little bit on you. That's normal. Once it's snug down, you can give it a shot. You can see how that's springing and working in there. That's good. And then the last part is to put these on to the servo itself. This is sitting like this still. You want the hole facing downward. Take one of these BB1 3 by 8mm. put a washer on it. And down into the bottom hole there where it goes. If I can get that started, that'll be great. Grab your Phillips screwdriver or JIS screwdriver or whatever you're using. Could even use a flat blade if you're daring enough. And once you get that in there, snug it up and do the same for the other side. And that part's done. So when it's done, then we'll move over to the chassis.